Morning, guys. On Matthew chapter 20, reading from verse 20 to 28. Just looking at this aspect of James and John asking their mom if they can sit on the right and left of Jesus in heaven. And this jostling for power and this wanting to be the greatest is always something that rises up in our hearts, pride. Instead of taking on a servant role, we tend to want to compete with one another. In Matthew 18, a couple of chapters back, it says, "At that time the disciples came to Jesus saying, 'Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?'" And that question just implies that jostling. Back to Matthew 20, verse 20, "Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came to Jesus with her sons, bowing down and making a request of him. And he said to her, 'What do you wish?' She said to him, 'Command that in your kingdom these two sons of mine,'" and we know from Mark that these two sons were James and John, "'may sit one on your right and one on your left.' But Jesus answered, 'You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am about to drink?'" And I think Jesus referring here is about the cup of suffering, the cup of God's wrath that's about to be poured out on him, the cup of suffering for the sins of the world. And this is not something that the disciples could even try and bear. Verse 23, he said to them, "My cup you shall drink." They said to him, "We are able." So they didn't understand what he's referring to, but they're saying, we are able to drink this cup. And in no sense, we need to suffer as Christ suffered. And in a sense, all those disciples suffered. Most of them were martyred. And so Jesus said to them, "My cup you shall drink," so that cup of suffering, "but to sit on my right and on my left, this is not mine to give, but this is for those whom it has been prepared by my Father." And hearing this, the 10 became indignant, and the 2 brothers, just again, their hearts are wanting to jostle for that position, and that shouldn't be our hearts. But that Jesus called them to himself and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great men exercise authority over them. It is not this way among you, but whoever wishes to become great among you shall be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave." And so that first and last principle that we read last week is again repeated here, and the important message that no, you've come to serve, come to be a slave, you come to suffer, you haven't come to be the greatest. So just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. And so let's just be careful where our heart is. It's a challenge for pride. It's a challenge that we're not chasing after positions, but rather that we remember that we come to serve and to suffer as Christ suffered.